Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. As per the usual, I am Cowboy S. Cowboy. Greetings and salutations, and welcome back. As you see, we are doing our unboxing of the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, one of the newer Magic the Gathering sets. We already did part one. We got through, I think, half. Let's see, we got 5 packs left. And so far, we've pulled a lot of mythics and a lot of rares. So, without further ado, let's get back into it. So, we're going to open the next pack. First up, we have a plot card. After you plot a card, you can place this exiled card here. You may cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. So that's fixes that spot of just randomly keeping it places. You actually have it where you actually can store it someplace on the battlefield. Interesting. Next up, we have Steer Clear. It's a 1-drop, instant, 1 white. Steer Clear deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Steer Clear deals 4 damage to that creature instead if you control a mount as you cast this spell. Next up, we have Highway Robbery. 2-drop, sorcery. 1 colorless, 1 red, sorcery. You may discard a card or sacrifice a land. If you do, draw 2 cards. Plot. Plot is the one we just mentioned earlier, and it pay 2, pay a colorless and a red. You may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand. Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. Plot only as a sorcery. Next up, we have the Hard Bristle Bandit. 2-drop, 1/1, plant rogue. 1 colorless, 1 green. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Whenever you commit a crime, untap Hair Bristle Bandit. This ability triggers only once each turn. Targeting opponents, anything that they control and or cards in their graveyards is classified as a crime. So we target them at all, it's classified as doing a crime. Next up, we have the Vault Plunderer. 3-drop, 3/1, 2 colorless, 1 black, human rogue. When Vault Plunderer enters the battlefield, you may target a player draws a card and loses 1 life. Next up, we have the Silver Deputy. 2-drop, artifact, creature, mercenary. 1/2. When Silver Deputy enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card or a desert card, reveal it, and then shuffle and put it on the top. Tap, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn, activate only as a sorcery. We have another Razzle Dazzler. We have a Scorching Shot, 2-drop, sorcery, 2 red. Scorching Shot deals 5 damage to target creature. Next up, Deep Monk Desperado. We've already had this one. Next up, we have Betrayal at the Vault. 6-drop, instant. 4 colorless, 2 green, instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each of Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each of 2 other target creatures. There we go, words. You know how to use them. Next up, we have the rare of the deck, which is the Malcolm the Eyes. 2-drop, 2/2, legendary creature, Siren Pirate. 1 blue, 1 red, flying haste. When you cast your second spell each turn, investigate. Create a clue token in an artifact with tap 2, sack this artifact, draw a card. We got a mythic in here as well. The Bristol Bud Farmer. 4-drop, 5/5, plant druid. 2 colorless, 2 green. Trample when Blister Bud Farmer enters the battlefield. Create 2 food tokens. These artifacts they are artifacts with tap 2, sack this artifact, you gain 3 life. When Bristol Bud Farmer attacks, you may sack a food. If you do, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. We got a double rare in this deck. A Dust Bowl. It's a land. Add a charge counter. 3 colorless. Sack a land. Destroy target non-land permanent. Oh, destroy target non-basic land. My bad. We got 3 rares and 1 mythic in this deck. Varasa joins up. 2-drop legendary enchantment. 1 black, 1 green. Vraska joins up. When Vraska joins up, enters the battlefield, put a Dutch Touch counter on each creature you control. Whenever a legendary creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then we just got standard land. A lot of rares, a lot of mythics in this set. Next up, we got another full art card. Like I said before, I always like the full art cards. Giant Beaver, we've already had. Fake Your Own Death. 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 black. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield untapped under its owner's control, and you create a treasure token. Next up, Take the Fall. 1-drop, instant, 1 blue. Target creature gets -1/-0 until end of turn. It gets -4/-0 until end of turn. Instead, if you control an outlaw. Assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks are classified as outlaws. Draw a card. Take Up the Shield, we already talked about. Iron Fist Pulverizer, we've already talked about. The Sterling Keykeeper, we've talked about already. Harrier Strix, we've already talked about. Next up, we have Baron Betrayum Greywater. 4-drop, 2 colorless, 1 white, 1 black, 3/4. Vampire Noble. Whenever 1 or more tokens enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 black vampire rogue creature token with lifelink. This ability triggers only once each turn. Pay 1 colorless, 1 black, sack another creature or artifact, draw a card. We have Feral Fortification. Feralification. 3-drop, enchantment, 2 colorless, 1 red. Enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Option 2, target creature you control gains menace and haste until end of turn. I'm not sure what menace is, but we can look that up at a later date. Map of the Frontiers next. 4-drop, sorcery, 3 colorless, 1 green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or desert cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. Next up we have Step Between Worlds as the rare. 5-drop, sorcery, 3 colorless, 2 blue. Each player may shuffle their hands and graveyards into their library. Each player who does draw 7 cards. Exile Step draw 7 cards. Exile Step Between Worlds. Plot 6. Next up we have the Rodeo Pyromancer. 4-drop, 3/4 human mercenary. 3 colorless, 1 red. Whenever you cast your first spell, each turn add 2 mountain. And another mountain card. Alright, we got 3 packs left. First up, we have the Vengeful Townsfolk. 3-drop, 3/3 human citizen, 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 white. Whenever 1 or more other creatures you control die, put a 1/1 counter on Vengeful Townfolk. Next up, we have Trick Shot. 5-drop, 4 colorless, 1 red, instant. Trick Shot deals 6 damage to target creature and 2 damage to up to 1 other target creature token. Next up, we have the Brittle Pax Sentry. 2-drop, 3/3, Plant Wolf, 1 colorless, 1 green. Defender, as long as you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Bristle Pack Sentry can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Next up, we have Overzealous Muscle, 5-drop, 5/4, Ogre Mercenary, 4 colorless, 1 black. Whenever you commit a crime during your turn, Overzealous Muscle gains indestructible until end of turn. Next up, we have the Mystical Tether, 3-drop, enchantment, 2 colorless, 1 white. You may cast Mystical Tether as though it had flash if you pay 2 or more to cast it. When Mystical Tether enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until Mystical Tether leaves the battlefield. Next up, the Boneyard Desecrator, 4-drop, 3/4, Zombie Mercenary. 3 colorless, 1 black, Menace. 1 colorless, 1 black, sack another creature, put a 1/1 counter on Boneyard Desecrator. If an outlaw was sacrificed this way, create a creature token. Assassin, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks are outlaws. So Menace, if memory serves, I believe that is either protection from a certain color, or it could have modified, but leave the comments down below and double check my work for me. Please and thank you. Next up, we have Intimidation Campaign, 3-drop, enchantment, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black. When Intimidation Campaign enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life, and you draw a card. Whenever you commit a crime, you may return Intimidation Campaign to its owner's hand. Next up, we have the Rattleback Apothecary. 3-drop, 3/2, Gorgon Warlock. 2 colorless, 1 black, Death Touch. Whenever you commit a crime, target creature you control gains your choice of Menace or Lifelink. Next up, we have the Resilient Roadrunner. 2-drop, 2/2, bird. 1 colorless, 1 red. Haste, protection from coyotes. 3 colorless, Resilient Roadrunner can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. That's an interesting aspect, because it's something they haven't really done that. They usually put that except by creatures with haste with other mechanics, but using one with haste, it's something different. So, interesting. The rare for the deck is 1 Last Job, 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 white. Spree, choose 1 or more additional costs. Option 1 for 2, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Option 2 plus 1, return target mount or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Option 3, return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Attach it to a creature you control. 1 Last Job. Got another mythic. Esoteric Duplicator? If I'm reading that right. 3-drop, artifact, clue, 2 colorless, 1 blue. Whenever you sacrifice Esoteric Duplicator or another artifact, you may pay 2. If you do, at the beginning of your next end step, create a token that is a copy of that artifact. Tap 2 colorless, sacrifice Esoteric Duplicator, draw a card. Hyper Sizzle. It's a 5-drop instant, 3 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red. Instant. Draw 2 cards, then you may discard a non-land card. When you do, Hyper Sizzler deals 4 damage to target creature. We have the Binding Negotiation next. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 black, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, they discard it. Otherwise, you may put a face-up exile card they own into their graveyard. Interesting. And shit. I dropped my cards. Ugh. Sorry about that. Next up, we got our dual land desert. The Bristoling Backwoods. It's a land desert. Bristol Backwards enters the battlefield tap. When Bristol Backwoods enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent. Tap for green or red. And next up, last one we got is a treasure token. Excuse me for that. All right, we got 2 packs left. We have a Cactatarantula. Okay. It's a 6-drop, 6/5, 4 colorless, 2 green, plant spider. Target spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a desert. Reach. Whenever the spider becomes a target of spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw the card. So, cactus plus tarantula. I'm not even going to attempt it. Mourner's Spree. Next up, 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 black, my bad. Sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Create a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap. Target creature you control gets +1/+1/+0 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Next up, we have the Oasis Gardener. 3-drop, artifact, scarecrow. 2-drop, 3-drop, 2/2, 3 colorless. When Oasis Gardener enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Add 1 mana of any color. Next up, we have a Jailbreak Scheme. 1-drop, sorcery. 1 blue. Spree. Choose 1 or more additional costs. So, option 1 +3. Put a 1/1 counter target creature. It can't be blocked. It can't be blocked this turn. Or option 2 +2. Target artifact or creature owner puts it on top of the top or bottom of their library. Next up, we have the Armored Armadillo. 1-drop, 0/4, Armadillo, 1 white. Ward 1, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 1. So, pay 3 colorless, 1 white. Armored Armadillo gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is its toughness. So, it's defense. So, interesting. Next up, we have Iriat Tillit's Lullaby. 2-drop, sorcery. 1 colorless, 1 white. Destroy target tapped creature. You gain 2 life. Deadshot Duelist, we've already talked about. Form a Posse, we've already talked about. Sandstorm Verge, Land Desert. Tap to add a charge counter. 3 colorless, tap target creature can't block this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Next up, we have the Intrepid Stable Master. It's a 2-drop, Human Scout, 2/2. 1 colorless, 1 green. Reach. Tap, add a forest. Tap, add 2 mana of any color, any 1 color. Spread this mana only to cast mount or vehicle spells. Next up for the rare for the deck, we have Breaches, the Blast Maker, 3-drop, 3/3, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red. Menace. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, flip a coin. When you win the flip, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. When you lose the flip, breaches the Blastmaster deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. We have another Prosperity card, Archmage's Charm. It's a 3-drop, 3 blue, instant, choose one, counter target spell. Option 2, target player draws 2 cards. Option 3, gain control of target non-land permanent with a mana value 1 or less. Next up, we have Back for More. It's a 6-drop, instant, 4 colorless, 1 black, 1 green. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. When you do, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. We have regular Swamp. And another token card. And the last pack of the deck. We start off with a full art card. It's Fractured Identity. Spring Splasher, we already talked about. Vengeful Townfolk, we already talked about. Thundering Salvo. 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 red. Thundering Salvo deals X damage to target creature where X is 2 plus the number of spells you've casted this turn. Essentially, it's brought back the aspect of Storm. The more spells you play, the more damage you get. X is 2 plus the number of spells you control. So they brought Storm back. They have Free Strider Commando, 3-drop, 3/3, Centaur Mercenary, 2 colorless, 1 green. Free Strider Commando enters the battlefield with 2/1 counters on it. If it wasn't cast or no mana was spent to cast it. Enters the battlefield with 2/1 counters on there if it wasn't cast or non-mana was spent on it. Plot for 4. Next up, we have the Desperate Bloodseeker. 2-drop, Vampire. 2/2, 1 colorless, 1 black. Lifelink, when Desperate Bloodseeker enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. Skullduggery, we already talked about. Sterling Keykeeper, we've already talked about. Take a Ride, we already talked about. Rickus Robber, we've already talked about. Lava Spore Boots, 1-drop. Artifact Equipment, 1 colorless. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has Ward 1. Equipped for 1. We have next up for the rare for the deck, we have the Stingerback Terror. 4-drop, 7/7, Scorpion Dragon. That's just a fucked up combination. 2 colorless, 2 red, flying, trample, Stingerback Terror gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand. Plot for 3. Next up, we have Tornado. Destroy target creature with flying, cycling, 1 colorless, 1 green. Discard this card and draw a card. We have a hollow Tarantula. And we got Forlorn Flats, another dual land. Enters the battlefield tapped. When enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to target opponent. Taps for white or black. So I think the only one that we're missing out of that one is one tapping for blue. But that brings us to the conclusion of the unboxing for our Thunder Junction. And I thank you all for coming back out to the channel. If you liked the video, please give us a like on said video. If you're enjoying the content, please please subscribe to the channel. We do several other things besides unboxings. We have 3 or 4 other areas that we do videos for. I'm gonna pop out the rest of these. I'm not sure what some of these are. I know the top one's flying, potentially lifelink. This is flying. This is either protection or wind or something, and that might be death touch. Not sure, but we're gonna pop out the rest of these. Well, we got a little time, and we got a bunch of 1/1 counters as well. So we'll pop all those out. Now let's see, they gave us I think 7 counters. We got 7 of those, and only 4, 5, 6, 7 of these. Not sure what these tokens are for. I'm guessing that's just because that's the new symbol for Magic at this point in juncture over the years. But we'll just tap all that shit out. And until next time, this is Cobble saying, have a good night, and we shall see you in the next one.